obviously it's a very frustrated young man who wants his case listened to, but well, the security will not allow anybody to enter. Hello, sir. How long have you been standing here?
About 1 hour.
1 hour. What time was your case?
Supposed to be 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So what has anybody told you that there's no listening today? Have you been told about the strike?
Only the security man is saying something, but like me, I don't know anything about it. So I'm still waiting my lawyer so that I can even find a date again.
But don't you have your lawyer's contact? Could you call him? Is it possible?
Yeah. He said he's coming. So I'm waiting.
Okay. All right. So we're still getting to talk to a lot more people to find out from them how long they have been here, what's the way forward for them. Okay, I've seen this man. Hello, sir. Good morning. How long have you been standing here?
Almost about 45 minutes ago.
Okay. So are you aware about the strike? Has anybody said anything to you?
Nobody told us anything. They just came and then they told us that they want to go to strike, so we don't know anything about it.
Okay, so now that you know they are on strike, what's next for you?
We only have to see our lawyer, and then whatever he tells us, then we can know. So we are waiting for our lawyer when he comes.
What kind of case is your case?
It's a somehow criminal case. I think court 4 so. So we are just waiting for our lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the kind of case that needs judgment very soon, or it can hold on because this strike is indefinite?
Well, we don't know, but our case is about 3 years ago. We started this case about 3 years ago, so we don't know when the case is going to end. We are just waiting for our lawyer when he comes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. Right, so we'll make an attempt to enter the court and... Okay, let's see what's happening here.
So we have Gladys Oredu giving us an update of what is taking place as far as that very strike action that has been declared by the Judicial Staff Association of Ghana. And it means that at least when you go to the court or the premises of the judiciary, you're likely to meet key personnel who would assist you in undertaking your work. I don't know whether that also means that the judges and the members of the bar can also go about their activities at the court efficiently. Well, that's why we have a lawyer in our midst, and Abraham Amaliba is a member of the NDC's legal team, and he's also a legal practitioner, a law lecturer, and we're privileged to have him as well. He's also a member of that very constituency, Bolga Central.
He's not just being a member of the constituency, he has his eyes on becoming the member of parliament. Okay. I think it is important that you add that one.
Okay, I'm adding this. He's a parliamentary
aspirant.
All right, and we have a member of parliament also here. Ayawasu West Wogo member of parliament is here, and Emmanuel Tremanting Ejakong, pharmacist, but also one-time chief executive for the Food and Drugs Board. That was when it was a board. Now it is an authority. And thanks for joining me. I saw you at the vigil. You were all over social media in the pictures, evading our eyes, and also on TV, etc.
Taking advantage of what is happening.
I said he was making capital out of it.
Yeah. I was taking advantage of what?
Well, it happened in his constituency, so he needed to be there to give support. I can understand.
True. Right.
So what was the advantage I was taking?
That's the advantage.
Oh,
but that's, you know that the two of you, we've had discussion
about the platforms, how we take advantage of the various...
You make capital out of it, and I feel that... I don't know whether, though, an institution in Ghana is making capital of the leverage that it has, because there's been calls, a cause of concern for a lot more people about the way the Electoral Commission has acted, and that subsequently following protestations by the political parties and some key notable members of parliament, leading to suspension of a registration exercise that had been announced early on. Your comments, please. I'll start with you.
Oh, very well. Let me thank you for inviting me to the show this morning, and use this opportunity to say good morning to our viewers. When I was coming in, I had the privilege of speaking briefly with Dr. Jonah, a political scientist. I wanted to be sure whether what they had done was in breach of a statute, a law. It could be law or CI, some. I think he was emphatic and said no. It is they have not, as it were, breached anything by way of a statute, but there are conventions that applies, and I think that he was very emphatic, very indeed vehement to say that you don't do this. I want to believe, and I stand to be corrected, that we can look at the Electoral Commission as a regulator of national elections, of elections of any form. My clear understanding of the business of regulation is that it is important that for every step you take, it is a necessary requirement that you engage their stakeholders. I have had opportunity to work in a regulatory agency before. And indeed, I believe that in that case, in the case that I had the exposure, it was by statute and by convention, by practice. Okay, that for instance, you want to change the guidelines as to how you import medicines. The statute and the practice worldwide is that you must engage the industry. Elections is about political parties and by extension the people. How is it that you want to do something that has a bearing on elections? Indeed, I think that, and it is evident that elections is not an event, but it is a process. How is it that you want to do something within that process, and it turns out that some people, even in some of the district electoral officers, did not even know about this? Today, I listened to and read Dr. Jampo. He has even gone further to begin to apportion blame and lay the problems squarely at the doorstep of one of the deputy commissioners. Indeed, in the write-up you have given us, it's a little, it makes everybody feels uncomfortable. He says, Dr. Jampo said the commission was now suffering from mistrust amongst its members. If the commissioners are suffering this kind of situation, it is worrying that the election management agency has these difficulties. But of course, I think that it is time for a new person to be appointed as chairman, and it is human, it is natural that people will be positioning, okay, and probably I stand to be corrected, but this is my carefully considered view. In my humble view, I think that people want to do things to impress the appointing authority, that if you do something for me, I will go ahead and do things without even recourse to anybody.
That's speculation.
I am speculating. I said that. I said this is my considered view. Okay, but otherwise, how would it happen? And then just a day or two after the protests come up, then the substantive executive chairman will come and say that let's stop this. What was the level of consultation even among the commission? And when they do this, it casts them in such poor light, particularly just after this huge botch up of the district assembly elections. For me, it is not just that one. This country went on and lost about 300 million cedis. And nothing has happened. It is business as usual. When you run an institution, therefore by extension, a country like this, what you are breeding is impunity. What you are breeding is impunity. I can do anything. Nobody can touch me. I'm a tin god. Nothing will happen. Even if we get it wrong, nobody. I think that we are almost at a precipice, and something must happen. I want to believe that all of us, as interested Ghanaians, will rise up to stop this. I was going to use a very strong word, but I am happy I have been able to check myself.
What word did you intend using?
Oh, I was going to, no, I think that for the sake of viewers, I must show some decorum. But this really, this madness must stop. This madness must stop somewhere. I mean, if you do this, then those of us that will be in a contest and seek you to be a referee will have lost every trust. The referee has lost credibility. I say this with a lot of pain because I know some very fine, extremely fine officers. I know some extremely fine officers in the Electoral Commission. But if persistently, in a period of a year or two, in the last 4 years, for me, you remember what happened with the previous district assembly elections?
When they held it on
to use the Ghanaian parlance. And then just after that, there was the 2012 elections and all the issues that came up. One would have thought that there would have been it would have been a wake-up call. Immediately after this, there was this huge faux pas with the district assembly elections. And today, look at what is happening.
Now, Abraham, is it for all the parties to be complaining, then it means that something really must have gone wrong? Consultation with the key stakeholders is always crucial. It's always crucial. They have the entity, the IPAC, where they can always go and consult and do a lot more deliberations. How does this in any way give a certain negative view about how the commission works and the reputation it has among its stakeholders in the general electorate?
I'm going to disappoint you. I am going to come to the defense of the EC. The EC under the Constitution is not supposed to be under the direction and control of anybody, not even the president. The EC is an independent body that must do its things without any interference. Now, when you look at this exercise that is going on, it's purely an administrative exercise. It is the mandate of the EC that is being rolled out. And I'm happy he said he spoke to one governance expert, Mr. Jonah, Dr. Jonah, and Dr. Jonah says that what they have done has not breached any regulation. And that is true. The issue of continuous registration is provided for by CI 72. There's nowhere that says that they should consult the political parties. So on that level, the EC has done nothing wrong. But I agree that in order to bring everybody along, it is important for the EC to judge or maybe to inform the political parties that it is about to do these exercises. But I'm saying that, and I'm emphasizing, no law, no regulation has been breached by the EC at all. But you want to carry along all stakeholders. So you would have been expecting that the EC would inform the political parties. But my worry is what we are hearing within the commission. Because the commission has an electoral commissioner, 2 deputies, and some 4 or 5 or 6 other commissioners. They must work in unison. They work as a unit. So if it comes out now that it is only one person who took the decision to roll out this exercise, then that can be worrying within the commission itself. And I think that that is where I'll have problems with Amadou Seidu. But on the face value and under the law, the EC has done nothing wrong by going ahead to do this continuous registration, which is provided by law. I think that what is increasingly becoming necessary is for the EC to have a legal department within that sector. Because a commission whose work borders on law and always having to interpret the requirements of the law cannot operate in this environment where everybody is now awake to his rights. The commission cannot operate without a legal department. And I'm calling that it's now time has come for the EC to establish a legal department in the commission.
Can I just say this? You see, I think that sometimes it is worrying when we hear some of the arguments. I can completely agree. That is why I wanted the clarification with Dr. Jonah. The fact that they are not in breach of a statute does not mean, I don't think that this country is governed only by statute, by law. There are a lot of unwritten conventions that go on or that adds up to governance in this country. You know, the good book of the Christians will say that everything may be legal, but it is not everything which is expedient. Obviously, in a situation like this, I think that the EC has not been expedient at all. What has been the convention? What has been the practice? If we want to define the independence of the Electoral Commission, I think that it must be put in a proper perspective. Yes, when it comes to operational things, I can completely agree that there must be no direction. But it is also, I am saying that my understanding of a regulator is that you will do things in consultation with your stakeholders. After all, the EC would not be in existence if there were no elections.
That said, for this very registration exercise, which now has been aborted, what should have been done? What should have been the ideal thing?
The ideal thing was to, you see, I have heard in the post 2012 election court and all of these things, some of the expectations, I don't know whether it is at my party level or it is at the EC reform. You know, they have set up a certain EC reform thing. I don't know whether this recommendation is coming from my party or it is coming from that post the EC reform. But I am saying that very clearly it has been stated that the EC must let us know their timetable. There must be a timetable. You know that you will have elections and 3 months before the election, this must come.
For that very calendar year, you need to have the timetable. So the first
so that you will prepare, because we are all involved.
So ideally, we should have had the parties in the monitoring or what? What would they do? Do they have party agents?
Well, when they are doing registration.
Because this one, for example, it was announced that the registration is being done at EC's offices.
Yes.
6,000 of them countrywide.
Yes.
And so it means that it's not constituency by constituency. Yes, 6,000.
It's at the offices.
Yes, offices.
No, it can't be 6,000.
Well, they said
the district offices.
The district offices.
They are not up to, but it is done in the offices of the
so they said you just go to the office.
A district office, yes.
But
and manned by the staff of the EC, not hired staff.
Okay. But ideally, aren't we supposed to be having, party representatives there to know and also point out what they have always been pointing out during such registration exercises? That the gentleman or lady coming is a minor, is not of the Ghanaian origin, or doesn't qualify to be somebody who should have the name registered, so to speak.
I think that it has almost become a necessity. I want to believe that if we were in an ideal situation, obviously we are not in an ideal situation at all. If we were in an ideal situation, the necessity of a party agent and all so forth and so on would not arise at all. But because we are not in an ideal situation, because we live in a country where people who are not Ghanaians are permitted to register, because we live in a country where minors are allowed to register, because we live in a country that the statistical service is telling us that the population is 24 million, and probably about 60%, completely out of skew with our own population dynamic, find their name on the electoral register. Because we live in a country where we allow things that we should not allow people to register with, then
that is why the consultation is important.
No, that is why you probably would even have to take what do you call it? An agent there. But if we had developed the system to such an extent that there was the complete faith and trust that if the person is not a Ghanaian, if the person was a minor, if the person did not qualify by definition, then nobody would have done that. In many jurisdictions, you probably will say that they are advanced democracies. Nobody goes to stand there and say, I'm a party agent.
Or even go and register. Or automatically your name is entered into the register to vote.
Yes, Rola, I think that moving forward, the way IPAC is now an integral part of the electoral process, once again, I am calling for a legal backing for the existence of IPAC.
I think so.
Because we are increasingly seeing that IPAC is at every stage of the electoral process a key player. What is the legal basis for that? There's no legal basis. So if we agree that IPAC is so crucial to the advancement of our electoral process, then let's give it a legal back and then fashion out what roles it will play so that the independence of EC will still be maintained. If that is done, then these things about why were the political parties not informed? Those information can be channeled through IPAC, and they will then send it to the electoral committee. Their various political parties.
Abraham, you again on this very score, and this is the last comment we're making on this. Couldn't we have done this with the parties raising haywire about whatever the activity was? It's just the office of the Electoral Commission. I don't think that the officers who would have been manning the registration centers would have been ignorant of whether somebody was supposed to be ineligible or eligible to register or not.
And you see, I am afraid at the way...
Because it's as if there's a complete distrust.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm afraid at the way, at each stage of the move of the Electoral Commission, we question. I'm afraid because it will come to a point when the EC itself will become jittery, cannot do its work, because people like Ejaku will be there to question, when indeed they are doing their work.
Indeed, not necessarily Ejaku, but the political parties.
Yeah. He's my good friend. He's the only one I can jab around here. You know? So,
but I'm happy to question.
Yeah, you can question. I am beginning to be afraid about how the EC can be left alone to do its work. So much as the citizens have the right to question what the EC is doing, we must be careful not to make the EC become timorous and unable to perform its work. We need a balancing act to ensure that these things does not affect the psyche of the EC. Yes.
It can also stifle the creativity and the forthrightness.
So. I really and truly don't believe so.
Because
the elders have
the political parties and the very key stakeholders seem to be questioning the EC at every turn.
Yeah, but it is.
For what is legal or non-legal, conventional or not conventional?
Yeah, no, but you said for what is legal or not legal, for what is conventional, if there's a convention, if there's a practice. I mean, my colleague Amalaba here is saying the things I want to say. It might be, I think the time has come for us to give some legal backing to IPAC. We have done these things over and over again. But you see, to end this commentary, the elders have a saying that I don't know how to say it in English, but if you stop nudging at somebody, the retaliation will also stop.
Okay.